Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. For the public that's tuning in tonight, a little housekeeping quick. You'll notice we're back to our Zoom format. We felt it was prudent at this time with the rise of COVID-19 cases in our region and community and those communities around us that we move back to this option to allow people to participate remotely. And so that's the format of tonight's meeting. And with that, we will move to roll call.
Nelson?
No, Tom. Oh, is he there?
I see.
All right.
I'm here.
Orison? Orison?
Here.
Larson? Wunschel?
Here.
Hanson?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Moriarty?
Here,
All right, thank you. Item 3 is the consent agenda. 3A is a motion to approve City Council minutes of June 1, 2020. B, licenses. Approve Class E liquor license and Class B wine, Class C beer, and Sunday sales for Casey's Store 2877 at 805 South Grand Avenue. Class E liquor license with Class B wine, Class C beer, and Sunday sales for Casey's 2902 at 411 West 18th Street. And Class C liquor license with outdoor service and Sunday sales for 513, all subject to final approval by the Iowa Alcoholic Beverages Division. C is a resolution authorizing permanent transfer of funds of budgeted transfers for the month ending May 31, 2020. D is a motion to approve cigarette tobacco licenses effective July 1, 2020 for C's Liquor, Cargo Express, Casey's 1894, Casey's 2902, Casey's 2877, Dinos 31, Dinos 32, Dinos 40, Fairway Stores Incorporated, Hy-Vee Store, Hy-Vee Gas Station, Walmart 2714, and Walgreens 11153. Licenses are issued by the state of Iowa. E is a motion to approve the purchase of a Case IH Maxim 145 tractor from Red Power, Spencer, Iowa for $92,100 and a 22-foot Brute boom mower from Tiger Corporation, Sioux Falls, South Dakota through Sourcewell contract pricing for $65,182 for the street division. This is a CIP item. F is a motion to approve purchase of an end loader tires for the solid waste division from Fremont Tire for $19,302. This is a CIP item also.
So moved.
First by Tom.
second upon approval of Iowa for all the permits.
All right, second by George. Discussion or questions on any of these items?
Hey, Mark, Ron here. Is that for mowing ditches? How much do we use that boom mower, and what locations are we using that boom mower?
We use it often, Ron. That's a good question. All the ditch force slope that you'll see us mowing. We currently have a 1999 international tractor that we're using, and the unit has over 10,000 hours on it. So we've put a lot of time on it over the years, and we'll pull the batwing mower behind it at the airport and other places, and then mow the ditches with the boom mower. So it's basically a new version of the same one that you've seen running.
Thanks, Mark.
You bet.
Any other questions or comments on the items? How do you want them to vote tonight?
I can call the roll if that's okay.
Okay. All right, Teresa will call the roll.
Nelson?
Yes.
Orison?
Aye.
Wunschel?
Aye.
Hanson?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Moriarty?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Item 4 is a public hearing. 4A, public hearing on proposed sale and transfer of city real property. This is approximately 9.66 acres of former railroad right-of-way located adjacent to Iowa Highway 71 in North Spencer. I declare the public hearing open. Excuse me. Have we received any written comments in favor of or against?
We have none.
Are there any oral comments in favor of or against? I hear none. I declare the public hearing closed. Item 4A1 is a resolution approving the sale of real property and delivery of conveyance to the Iowa Department of Transportation.
I'll introduce that.
First by Bill,
Second.
second by Donovan. Questions, discussion on this?
Yeah, just one question. I know we're selling to the IODOT. Where is this funds going? Maybe Brian or Amanda, where are we from these funds?
That is definitely a Brian question.
Haven't given much thought. I would assume they'll probably go back towards the street because it used to be street right away. Any expenses we would have maintained during the railroad and that would have come out of street funds. So that's where I would suspect they would go back to.
I see a smile on Mark's face. Just wondering, what, if we never had anything earmarked for that, correct?
No, we didn't have any projects or anything earmarked for these revenues.
Brian, refresh my memory anyway. What was our encumbrance for the trail going north out of town from 18th Street North?
Ugh.
About.
Ours was right at, I think the whole project was right at 1.6 million. We got grants for about 750,000 of it. So right at that, maybe in that 800,000 to 900,000 was trail, but we bonded for our, we sold bonds for our component of it.
So does it make any sense to, Mark's not gonna like this answer or this question, to use those funds to offset the bond cost?
We could, I mean, typically when you sell assets, you put it against the department that expended them in the first place for the long-term maintenance. I mean, we could look into putting that against our debt as well. We can look further. At this point, there is no real answer as to where we'll put it.
I'm just throwing out options, you know, if we're selling railroad property right next to the trail and we've encumbered and bonded for the trail dollars, my thought was using some of those dollars to offset that bond cost. So,
Yeah, we can investigate that, Bill.
thank you. I'm not opposed one way or the other. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Nope, good question.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments or discussion items for this? Hearing none, we'll call the vote.
Nelson? Orison?
Aye.
Wunschel?
Aye.
Hanson?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Moriarty?
Aye.
Larson?
Good, you got them?
Yep, got them all.
Okay.
I didn't till you just said it.
You got Tracy?
I do now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5, old business. 5A is a ordinance amending Title 9, Chapter 14 of the Spencer City Code, Planned Unit Residential Development, Section 9-14-3B2, concerning common open area, Section 9-14-4, concerning layout and design requirements, and Section 9-14-7, concerning minimum site size. This is the second filing.
I'll make a motion on that, Mayor.
First by Ron,
I'll second.
second by George. Discussion items on this?
Just like to say, I'm happy to see we got some development going on over in that area, and it'll be a wonderful addition to Spender.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else? Hearing nothing, we will call the vote.
Nelson?
Aye.
Orison?
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Wunschel,
Aye.
Hanson,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Moriarty.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 5B is a ordinance amending Title 9, Chapter 13, Section 1 of the Spencer City Code, subdivision definitions. This is the second filing.
So moved.
First by Ron,
Second.
second by Lauren. Discussion or questions on this item? Hearing none, we'll call the vote.
Nelson,
Aye.
Orison,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Wunschel,
Aye.
Hanson,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Moriarty.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Item 6, new business. 6A is a motion to approve contract for sanitary landfill services for fiscal year 2000, is that 2001?
2021, excuse
2021.
me.
All right, typo on your agenda here. Let me start over. Approve contract for
20.
sanitary
It's 2020, Kevin, I'm sorry.
2020,
Yes,
okay.
July 1st.
sanitary landfill services for fiscal year 2020 through 2023 with City of Bode, City of Whittemore, Emmett County, and Palo Alto County.
I move the motion.
First by George,
Second.
second by Tom. Questions, discussion on this?
I see we're still in discussion with Pocahontas County. When do we anticipate that will be resolved?
We just haven't received theirs back. I've heard no response from them either way, so it's not really I just don't know if we missed their board meeting timing. We've just heard no comments back from them. I would hope we would have it here soon.
All
Hey,
right.
Mark, with everything that's going on right now, what does the landfill, are they taking in less, or are we pretty busy on construction, or what? You know, since we reopened the transfer station, where are we looking at right now?
Volume is down right now, kind of reflecting the economy. And Shines is down quite a bit also. You know, the metal price is down quite a bit. So those loads have been significantly reduced.
Thank you, Ron. Any other questions or discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 6B is a motion to approve a 5-year agreement with Nutrijeet Systems Incorporated for removal, transportation, and disposal of biosolids from the waste treatment plant.
So moved.
First by Tom, second by Bill. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 6C is a resolution establishing the employment position of park technician. This is a joint personnel, Parks, Recreation, and Culture, this discussion was had at a joint committee meeting of the Personnel Committee and the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee on June 8th of 2020.
I'll move the motion with the approval of the committees.
Okay, first by George,
No, second.
second by Tracy. Discussion, questions on this? I know this is a position we've talked about for the last couple of years to help deal with our acreage of total green space has increased, our programming has increased, yet our staff is the same as it was, I believe, 25 years ago or so. So this is exciting to have another contributor in the Parks Department. Anybody have?
Mayor,
Yep, Ron?
Jared, question, in the winter time and stuff, how are you looking? I wasn't able to meet the personnel. Where are you using this person towards the fall and stuff, or is it to help on some of the snow removal and that program?
Yeah, so we can do a lot of tree trimming and along with the snow removal during the wintertime, but we also need to prep machinery, do necessary maintenance on our equipment as well as our building. And that person will also help out at the cemetery with grave digging, selling graves, taking over for any of the superintendents that may take some time off or aren't around to handle those duties.
Jared, I would like to mention that I've noticed that the parks and the cemeteries have just looked great this spring. Done a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, the guys have been doing, I can't take all the credit for it. There's a lot of our seasonal and our employees, permanent employees, putting in a lot of time and doing the job to get it done. So,
Jared, have we looked at the pool, or is there anything out there on, I noticed the governor did kind of open up. I see that there are a couple of small pools around the area. Have we had any discussion with ours, or what are we talking this summer?
we still need to have some discussions regarding the opening or closing of that pool yet. So,
Amanda, will we have a committee meeting on that, or what are kind of see where the council feels on that now?
Yeah.
We're starting to get a little later.
Jared and Kevin and I are meeting tomorrow. We brought it up on our 4:30 task force call today, and we're looking at the hospital for a little bit of guidance, or public health, excuse me, on their thoughts. We're going to meet tomorrow, and then from that conversation decide if if we bring it to the full council or if we do a committee meeting. We just aren't sure yet what process will follow.
Will you send us a little email on kind of where the meeting kind of goes, to kind of give us a little heads up or information or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Ron. Any other questions regarding this item, the new position? All right, hearing none, we'll call the vote.
Nelson,
Aye.
Orison,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Wunschel,
Aye.
Hanson,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Moriarty.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 6D, I see Will Dybel from the Spencer Community School District is on the call. And so after we have a first and second, maybe Will can expound a little bit on this topic. But 6D is a motion to approve resource sharing agreement with the Spencer School District for the No Boundaries program at the Spencer City Hall.
I introduce that.
First by Bill,
I'll second.
second by George. Will, Amanda, you want to lead the discussion on this?
Yes, and Terry's on the call also.
Oh,
So
hi, Terry. I missed you. I can only see so many people on the screen.
sure.
All right, Kevin.
I think it's, the information that was provided in the packet is pretty self-explanatory. We have available space, and No Boundaries is looking for space in the community for their program. I personally think it's a really great partnership, and also breathes some life into the building to have younger than us people in it working on projects that benefit the community. Terry and I have had multiple conversations, the mayor's been involved, about what their needs are, and the space upstairs that is currently unoccupied will work for them. The No Boundaries program is currently in the old community insurance space, but there's some accessibility challenges there, and if I understand correctly, the space will not be available to them going forward. So the need is also rather timely. The agreement calls for a monthly rent, and lays out what the school will be responsible for, what the city's responsible for, and I just think it'll be a good partnership. I asked Will and Terry to join us just if you all had questions about the No Boundary program. I try to do the best I can when explaining it, but I don't work with it every day, so I probably don't get it exactly right. So that's what the agreement is to allow the school district and their students, while supervised, to utilize our space upstairs.
Do we need to do any additional networking costs to make things available for them?
It's all available
So,
already.
So Will, would you give us kind of an oversight on what you're going to use the space for and kind of what students are involved and kind of give us an overall view of what your plans are?
Absolutely. So we basically started this program this year. It's a joint program between us, Okoboji, and GTRA. And the purpose was to give real world experience to these students, to get them both work and college ready, give them the actual live experience. And so what we do is we talk to businesses, nonprofits, and government agencies, and Amanda's been generous enough to be one of our partners for this. And what we do is we say, we know you have your top 3 projects. We don't want those. We would like your 4th and 5th, the things that are not essential to your success, but things you've always talked about wanting to do. And then what we do is then we have our students work on those projects in order to get high school and college credit. So they need a collaborative workspace in order to do that. And this is based off of the Iowa Big Model, which was in Cedar Rapids. So they started that model, and they even tried, and it's been super successful. And then they tried to duplicate it within a school building, and they found that it actually, that model fluked and flopped, the one that was in the school building, because it's very much dependent on having that kind of locale and the business mentality and mindset. So having an off-site, off of your building location, was essential for its success when we went and studied and learned from them. And so, when we, and we've seen the same thing. What happens is, you're a product of your environment. When you're in school, you're doing school. When you're in a business location, you're doing more of a business location, and the kids become more professional, and they very much, they kind of meet expectations in that professionalism. Not to say that they don't do a good job of expectations in school, but, your school expectations are very specific as to things. And as you guys can remember from school, you ask permission to go to the bathroom, you do those things which are not what you guys do in your current workplaces. And, I don't think most of Amanda's employees would say, hey, Amanda, can I use the bathroom or some, and so you get
I try, but they just won't listen to
I know,
me.
right? So you get that mentality, and it makes them more professional. And so we've partnered with the city and a couple projects. We've partnered with a couple different other locales. High Noon Kiwanis, the Heritage Center, and so these kids then pick these projects based on interest and passion. And they basically, you say, here's our problem, here's what we want to do, and they work on it with a facilitator. And our local one is our Spanish teacher, who's also got a business endorsement, Ann Thorson. So she has business and computer science endorsements as well, so she can kind of teach the business and computer science portion of those. So they just need a collaborative workspace that's professional in order to do all of that work. And, in talking with Amanda, and Terry's done more of the talking with Amanda for this, but having that ability to be around other professionals works really well both ways. Like Amanda kind of mentioned, it provides us a great example for the students to follow of what does professionalism look like in the workplace. And it provides them kind of the energy of all those kids being in there. So
if I remember the presentation that your group did to Rotary a year ago, is that every particular team has representatives from every school. Is that correct?
Generally, so it is passion based, and so we had about 20 some projects active last year. We found that was a little bit much for our facilitators trying to get to all those meetings. We had about 20 some projects between the 3 communities, and most projects had a mix of kids on them, but there were a couple. For example, there was a Spencer project that was picked up by all kids from Okoboji last year, and vice versa. There was an Okoboji project that was picked up by all kids from Spencer. And so it's a mix, but generally every kid is, we usually have representation from every different district on one, but because it's passion based, we found that in order to get the kids engaged, we have to make sure they get the choice in what are they most passionate about out of all those projects. So generally it works out that way, but we never force it, because otherwise that's usually going to cause the project to fail. So
are they typically juniors and seniors?
they're only juniors and seniors right now, but they are a gambit of students, which has been an amazing story. So we have students that are special ed students who have learning disabilities, and we have students that are high-end tag talented and gifted students that are like, top of their class test score wise. And so it's been super successful for all of them in their different scenarios so far, which has just been an amazing story. So we had plans to kind of get together a video and show those successes at the end of this year, because we did interviews kind of as the year went on, but obviously COVID happened and kind of messed with our plans. But we do have only juniors and seniors because of the transportation issue, but we do have a variety of students involved, which has been awesome.
Thank you, Will. This is an exciting program. I got to meet one of the groups last year, and it was interesting to see their passion and how they're approaching things and using their skills. Normally they would have in the school building, out in the real world, solving real world problems. So that was very encouraging. Anybody have any other questions for Terry or Will or anybody else? No? Okay, hearing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor?
I got one. I just
Donovan, go ahead.
realized I'm on mute. But do we have enough infrastructure like internet capabilities, restrooms, things like that to handle them up there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what about access? Will this all be during working hours, a few hours a day?
So the agreement outlines that they'll work during normal business hours, so they'll use the main entrance. If they do need access to the building in non-business hours, they'll coordinate with myself or Brian to make that happen. But I think that'll be few and far between.
Donovan, I'd add, we'll never have kids there without one of our staff members there. Our kids will always be supervised on site.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mayor, I'd like to thank Amanda for her work, being willing to have the discussion and kind of see the potential of what this could be with our kids at your site, with your people that are such great resources. I think it's going to be great for our kids.
It's exciting. We're happy to help. All right, with that, we will call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Look forward to working with the school district on this. Item 7, engineers report. Ross?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Over at the landfill, Rognus Brothers has been working on the clay liner. They have about 75% of the first lift completed. There are 3 8-inch lifts, so they'll be working on that for a while. Down on the 4th Avenue Southwest sidewalk project, Holstein Excavating has placed and compacted the fill required for that project. They worked on fine grading today, and they were placing sub-base late this afternoon. They're hoping to pave some or all of that sidewalk probably within the next week. We have been working with Walmart, and the Walmart manager has been really easy to work with. So that's going well so far. And then lastly, on the 4th Avenue Southwest Recreational Trail Project, we have a bid letting with the DOT tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. There are currently 9 plan holders on the plan holders list. So we're hoping for some competitive numbers. We should have those results hopefully by the end of the day or on Wednesday. Any questions? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ross. Item 8, city manager's report. Amanda?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As I was making my notes for my report, I realized that the last time we met was pre-protest. And it feels like a lifetime has passed since then. So just a quick comment that we're grateful for everyone who supported the city and who supported our police department during that time, and are grateful that the event was uneventful. A couple of other updates. We do continue, as I was asked earlier today, we do continue to meet at 4:30 daily with our COVID task force. So as pertinent information comes out from that, we certainly try to share that out as quickly as we can. We had a discussion on Friday about a potential event in the parks at the end of June, and because of that discussion, we've asked the entertainers to look at a later date. So we're postponing that until later this summer. Things are starting to return to normal as far as work goes. So our housing study steering committee, which you may remember is being produced by the Spencer Area Jobs Trust Group. So it's a diverse group of business and community leaders who are working through that with a firm called Hannah Keelan. And we have some preliminary survey results, and the steering committee will come back together again on June 30th to review those. Part of that plan is to not only recommend, types of housing and number of units that we may need to look at, but also look at what types of incentive programs we should be considering as we are nearing the end of the Spencer Quality Housing Initiative funding. We, through our health insurance renewal, this is kind of a fun thing for employees, for the first time have been able to offer dental and vision insurance to our employees. Now the cost is borne entirely by them, but our brokers at Community Insurance were able to find some really great services for our employees, and we've seen a pretty large commitment to participate. Let's see here. Boards and commissions. Here in a couple of minutes, the mayor is going to request appointment of several individuals to our boards and commissions. We have decided that this year we're going to do a formal onboarding process with not just new board and commission members, but all of our members, so that expectations are clear come July 1 when these new terms take effect. So we're working on the content for that, and the date. We'll probably have several sessions over a couple of days to accommodate everyone. I did send all of you an email earlier today about the air conditioners upstairs. So if you could take a look at it and give me your thoughts. If you'd like to give me a call, I'd be glad to visit. Ron called me earlier so that we can figure out what we need to do on that. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Any questions for Amanda? All right.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor?
Yep, Bill?
I'd visited with Brian a little bit after the last meeting because at that time we were having some challenges with the air conditioning. Is there any chance that some of that could have been covered by insurance in any way? Did anybody do any research on that, Amanda?
Well, I know Brian has researched it. We could submit a claim. Part of the challenge is identifying exactly what caused them to go out. Was it a lightning strike? Was it something during construction? We don't know. And so, we're exploring that, but I don't know how fruitful that's going to be.
Maybe Donovan can add a little bit to that. It seems unusual. All four of them would go out at the same time. I've been involved in that building for 30 years. And I don't remember ever losing all four at the same time.
Yeah, I guess I'm not quite sure. It could have been a lightning strike. It could have been who knows what. So hard to tell.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Anything else? All right. Item 9, Mayor's Report. As Amanda alluded to, it's been a long 2 weeks since our last council meeting, and I found myself chuckling. A couple months ago, Donovan had asked, when are we going to get to the good stuff, Mayor? Which typically means anything but the ordinary. And I think we've had a lot of good stuff the last 2 weeks. So we'll probably get to more, Donovan. So I'm going to read the appointments. We have a long list. First, I'd like to thank everybody for their service. Some of these are re-upping, but we also have a lot of new people coming on board, and we had so much interest that we couldn't actually fit all the interested people into a slot. And so be patient with us, and some slots will open up, but it's really encouraging to live in a community where we can fill these. And so in the interest of time, I'm not going to read when the terms expire. I'll just read the names and which spots they're going to fill, and then if I could get a first and second, then we can fill these. So on the airport board, Don, and if I say your last name wrong, I apologize. Don Shorman. On the collection rate review board, Dawn Dom and Randy Weimers. On the electrical board, Jason Remilliard and Warren Meyer. On the golf course board, Eric Stuckey, Sarah Smith, and Larry Slota. On the Historic Preservation Commission, Dave Schaefer, Justin Thomas, and Tom Howe. On the library board, Ryan Dotson and Alyssa Barrick. On the park board, Mark Lawson. Also on the park board, Dave, Jared, how do you say Dave? Socek, Dave Socek. On the Planning and Zoning Commission, Angela McCauley. On the Renaissance Initiative Committee, Christy Jones, Clinton Jones, and Jill Barr. And on the SMU Spencer Municipal Utilities Board, Dwayne Barber.
I'll make the motion to approve them.
First by Donovan.
Second.
Second by Lauren. Any discussion? Hearing
All
none, all-
these are community numbers, right? The city, from the city of Spencer?
Yep,
I mean,
we've double checked all the zip codes and they all reside within the city limits of Spencer. Zip
Thank
code
you.
and address, I should say.
Yeah, nice.
Sounds like really a good class of participants. I'm real happy about it.
Yep, I would agree, George, and I'd like to thank Amanda for suggesting, as she talked about in her report, a course, for the onboarding and also a refresher for all the other board and committee members as well who have been on for a while. So we have a first, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Everyone will be notified either with a phone call or in print after this meeting. Thank you. Second thing I'll mention, the Black Lives Matter protest that occurred last Thursday. Echo Amanda's comments. Would like to thank the community. Like to thank everybody involved. Also like to thank the citizens who came out to view it and express their points of view as well. There were no arrests, which we're thankful for. No major incidents. I'd also like to extend a thank you, and Chief, if I missed somebody, please jump in. The City of Rock Valley assisted, the O'Brien County Sheriff's Department, the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department, the State of Iowa with the State Patrol, and the Department of Criminal Investigations, the Regional Heat Team, our Spencer Police Department, and the Clay County Sheriff. And that's everybody. So I wish everyone could have seen what I saw and was able to participate in. I know everybody downtown probably felt safe, but it was really something to watch all of it occur at the same time at the command center. And so thank you for everybody who put the time and effort in. And my message as I spoke at that rally was to encourage everyone to find their own personal mission within the movement. I would really continue to encourage that, have the conversations that need to be had, continue to move the community and our part of the world forward, and appreciate again everybody's participation in that. Had some citizens contact me over the weekend with some fun stuff. Douglas Vandertye is a young man, I believe probably about a middle schooler. We had some trash down in the Stolly Park area, I believe where the outlet goes into the river. And Douglas went down there on his own free will and accord and cleaned it up and took all that trash out. And so we appreciate him as a citizen taking the responsibility to pick up the other careless citizens' trash. And I know Jared has reached out to him, and so thanks, Jared, and thanks, Douglas. Laura Johnson also reached out to me. There was some profanity that people had put on the bridge going over the river on the bike trail, going from the pool area over towards Oneota. And I know she had volunteered, her and her kids, to help clean that up. And I'm sure Jared's been in contact with her. So thank you for that. Those are the good stories that we like to hear. Congratulations to the class of 2020. It's an even number. It's kind of a fun number, and I'm sure there's a lot of expectations when they started in kindergarten. Nobody could have foreseen how they ended, but congratulations on your graduation, and we're happy that you were able to have that event on Friday night. COVID-19, as Amanda mentioned, we get a lot of calls about the fair. Of course, the city of Spencer doesn't have any jurisdiction or decision-making in the fair, but we reached out to Jeremy. And Jeremy also was on our Kiwanis meeting this morning, and they're going to make an announcement sometime mid-July. And he wanted everybody to know that the fair is still, operating as if it's going to happen this fall. There's obviously a lot of variables from now until the middle of July, so please stay tuned to that. The other thing that I would like to wrap up with is I had a nice conversation with Brock Storm today. Brock, you may or may not have seen. Brock made these nice metal pieces of art that went on a couple light poles downtown. And of course, we have a ordinance in place about public property in which you can't put private things on the public right-of-way, wrapped around public poles, things of that nature. And so I went down and visited with Brock and his dad and his girlfriend, and we talked a little bit about we removed them, and we didn't remove them because we're not supportive of the movement. We removed them because we need to be protective of our public spaces. And had a good conversation. Brock has the ability to make more of these if people would want these. And what Brock wants to do is bring awareness towards Pride Month. And for those who don't know, and I'm going to read this just so I make sure I get it correct. Pride Month is in June of every year, and it celebrates and brings awareness to the LGBTQ movement, and it's in commemoration to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, New York. And so with that, we had a good discussion, and what I would like people to know is we take an oath every time we're elected. And I'd like to read you what that oath says. I guess last time we did it in public at a meeting, but a lot of times we do it not at a meeting. So every one of us elected officials, the oath that we take says the following: that we solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the laws of the state of Iowa, and the ordinances of the city of Spencer, and that we will, to the best of our ability, faithfully and impartially discharge the duties, for me, its mayor, on the Spencer City Council as now or hereafter required by law. And we all, I think about that oath a lot. We take it very seriously. And as it relates to the Black Lives Matter protest, as it relates to those who counter-protested, and as it relates to what Brock is trying to do to bring awareness to Pride Month and the LGBTQ movement, there's a balance between freedom of speech, which is guaranteed under the First Amendment of our Constitution of the United States. It's also guaranteed in the Constitution of the state of Iowa. The balance between freedom of speech and enforcing the ordinances locally that deal with public space and public property. And so through that discussion with Brock and his dad and his girlfriend this morning, we talked a lot about public art. We talked a lot about awareness of different movements. We talked a lot about how we move forward. And before COVID-19 hit, it's important, I think, for the citizens to understand through our planning session, one of our stated goals was to try to tackle the public art concept. Where do we put that? When we redid the committees, we went from 5 to 7, and one of the committees now is Park, Recreation, and Culture. We added culture in there specifically to try to address public art. Most of the public art ends up in places controlled by the Parks Department, and so we have a vested interest in the arts. As I said Thursday at the rally 2 weeks ago, we invest between $200,000 and $250,000 a year back into local organizations, and most of them are arts and culture and awareness type organizations. And so I want the citizens to know that as an elected body, we're trying to move the ball forward, but we need to do it in a manner that conforms to the ordinances that we have. And so in working with Brock, I think you'll see some of his work in private spaces. You'll see them in yards. He wanted me to let you know, I've had several requests since we took those down this morning. Brock can make more of them. And if you want something different than what that is, I'm sure he could commission all sorts of different types of artwork. He's extremely talented. He would like me to convey that he can be reached on Facebook. That's the best way to get a hold of him. Send him a message if he would like something commissioned by him for your yard or your property, or whatever. But I want you to know that we take very seriously our oath. We take very seriously moving the community forward, and so that's where we're at on the events of this morning. So with that, I would entertain any questions anybody would have. All right. Item 10, council committee reports, upcoming meetings.
Yes. So tomorrow, June 16th at 5:30 p.m., We have a personnel committee meeting. I sent the documents out early last week for your review. While it is a personnel committee meeting, we do encourage all of you to attend and participate. Charlie Carlson's going to be presenting his formal recommendations coming out of our wage study. So not only addressing the pay plan, but looking at our HR functions and needs. We also asked him to submit information on conducting the search for planning director. So we'll be discussing all of those things tomorrow night with hopefully a recommendation to the full council at the July 6th meeting, which will occur at 6:30 p.m. On July 6th.
Thank you, Amanda. Item 11 is a motion to approve the bills and claims.
I'll make that motion.
First by Bill,
Second.
second by Lauren. Any discussion?
Mayor, I do have one thing. We did add a bill this afternoon for $237 for property taxes on one of the properties we purchased on Park Street.
Okay,
We got a delinquent notice.
we don't want to be delinquent.
No.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, other business opportunity to address the council. Would anybody like the mic? Crickets? All right. Oh, anyone?
Ricker?
Yep. Is that Bill? Am I hearing things?
No, I asked if I could talk.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment for you, Mayor. I think you've done an outstanding job representing the city with the comments you made before the march and the comments you've been able to make at press conferences and that sort of thing. You've done a great job, and you should be commended for really putting the city first.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. I'm a small spoke in a big wheel. Anybody else? All right. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
First by Tracy, strong by Tracy. Good job.
Second.
Second by Tom. All those, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Nobody wants to hang on? All right. Meeting adjourned. We'll see you next council meeting.